Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the Walkie Talkies tour with Karen Boros and me. My name is Judith Waldmann, and I'm a curator for modern and contemporary art at the Museum Schloss Moyland in Germany. And I am very happy and thrilled that I have the opportunity to be in a conversation with Karen Boros today. So Karen, thank you very much for coming. It's really a pleasure for all of us, and we're so happy that you came too.
Thank you for inviting me.
For those of you who do not know Karen Boros yet, Karen Boros and her husband Christian Boros are influential collectors from Germany, and they started their collection in the 90s, and today they share one of the most remarkable collections of contemporary art. They are located in Berlin. And let's put it that way, they found one of the most extraordinary and beautiful houses or places for their artworks. They bought a bunker in the middle of Berlin. And I think most of you already had the pleasure to be there. And if not, I can assure you that you always come out with a very special experience when you visited the bunker. So welcome again, and thank you very much for being here, Karen. I'm already looking forward to stroll through the fair with you.
Thank you very much. It's a very busy day today, I would say, but it only speaks for Artistici that so many people came here on a Saturday, and it's my first time to Artistici, and I'm very excited to be here because it's a beautiful fair with a lot of young and emerging galleries, also from Spain, mainly from Italy, but also of course internationally. And the city has put up a lot of wonderful exhibitions, the museums, interesting spaces, exhibitions, and I can really recommend to come here for this November time for the fair. We go to Gallery Lu from Milano, right?
Yes.
And we discovered a work there yesterday, which is Jonathan Monk, who is also being shown at the moment in the presentation in the bunker. We have been following his work for quite a long time, so it's always nice to see a work again, a new work, to see what ideas he comes up with.
Nice, and it's the fourth presentation, right? You are changing exhibitions and
started in 2008, and we are very, we take our times with the exhibition. So this is the fourth exhibition at the moment, which we started in April last year.
Okay, so thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you again. Hi.
Nice to see you. Yeah, it's when we started to have a first look around the fair, we immediately stopped here.
Yes.
Because we were triggered by both works of Jonathan Monk, I guess.
Well, I would say most prominently this one here, because it's first of all quite an unusual sculpture in its materiality, and it's hard to say that it's a work by Jonathan Monk, because he always works in all these different materials. But then we found out that it's a very recent work, right?
It's the first time we are showing this piece. It's a recent piece. It was when I visited Jonathan last beginning of September. It was in studio, and he was working on this piece, which is exactly this part of the bone, which is called the ring bone, and this is the ring. When you get married, you usually you promise that it's gonna be forever, and that's really forever what happened after you pass away. And then of course, as in many other Jonathan Monk works, it's an open meaning. You can understand what you want basically and what you prefer. Very often Jonathan works with marble, especially with our gallery, Lund Gallery, and very often he tried to find a way to put humor and irony and to take in a different way a story which is already well known.
Yeah, and it's really a ambiguous work. When we came here, we already had different associations. So
I liked it because it's it's playing first of all with the materiality, the marble, which is a very classical sculptural material, and then again with the more modern material is the stainless steel, and then also the pedestal that he put the sculpture on. It's also an important part of it, I assume. So it's part of the work as well.
Yeah.
So I like, and it's a piece that it's like a minimal kind of sculpture, or it focuses very much on this very particular part. Rather than the whole body, or in a classical, it's in a classical sense of sculpture.
Yeah, and what he loves, it's very often doing this. It's really done by hand, working the marble piece by hand, and using hands for making a piece of hand. It's it's intriguing for Jonathan, and again, it's a new meaning, a new possible meaning.
Yeah. But this is like the size is not really taken from his finger, so it's not it's the proportion of the bone.
Yeah, the portrait of his body in any case.
Yeah, he was considering what could be. Was studying the measure of this part through a little skeleton he has at home, and then he was trying to see what could be the right proportion, even with the ring. Considering his hand, he was imagining how big should be the ring compared to the bone. So he was studying quite a lot. He did for us a beautiful exhibition based on a sculpture by Maurizio Cattelan, which is in Piazza Fari. Maurizio Cattelan was doing just the middle finger, and the other fingers are not done. And Jonathan did a show in Milano, of course, making the rest of the fingers that Maurizio Cattelan didn't do. And it's a different interpretation to a better gesture of Maurizio Cattelan, trying to see it in a positive way. And in other cases, he did some works like in this case, he's very often using hands, and the hands are very often present. I also own a piece of Jonathan, which is basically a drawing of his left hand, and the title is "My Left Hand," which looks like my right hand, because you never know if you make the drawing like this. Only like this, it's again the same drawing. So interpretation is a key point for me.
But also, of course, here we also have the concept of, or the idea of eternity. It's what is forever. Of course, the ring being something that's symbol for love forever, and being married is also a concept that people are questioning more and more. So in a way, also being married is also a very it's partly a religious, but also a very institutionalized thing to think about today. So this is what I also like. So you can really see it in many on many different levels.
And also this idea that you are married if you have a ring on that finger. It's something strange, which is not even so common all around the world. And in some countries, you don't put the ring on the left hand, but on the right one. So it's always we trying to see what's really true.
Yeah. And then there's another work by Jonathan here, which is a reference to Mario Merz.
Yes.
And which I think it's nice to have this context here with Mario Merz being an important figure of the arte povera, which was also very much based or came out of Torino and Milano. So I assume you brought this piece also
Because of the city, yes, because of in Torino there's the Fondazione Merz. Merz was living and working in Torino, and this is a very famous artwork, the original one by Mario Merz. It's based on the Fibonacci series, so it's the numbers of the Fibonacci series are the numbers of people who are at this restaurant around these tables. And the idea of Mario Merz was to take picture of people set at the table and stressing the idea of the series. And Jonathan Monk came up with the idea of stressing even more the idea of the series with these lenticular prints, so that when you see the picture, like in this case, you see, if you are in front, 5 people at the restaurants. But if you move around, you see from this side 3 people, and from this side 8 people. So it's in one picture you have 3 pictures, and this is possible to so-called lenticular prints, which were not available at the time of Mario Merz. So using a new technique, he could develop in a way the concept of the famous work by Mario Merz. And that was the question, again, the challenge for Jonathan Monk to continue an idea which is a previous idea.
And it's becoming almost filmic through this kind of movement.
Yeah.
It's somehow a moving image, and like your perspective, the perspective you are taking is also important, because it's changing where your standpoint is, which I find quite interesting about the artwork.
Would it be something like for him, like a comment also on, for example, the explosion of the world Bevölkerung, civilization? I mean, the people being, world being quickly overpopulated, the population. Would that be something that he would have in mind?
I mean, I don't know exactly the story, but as I tried to explain you yesterday, that was Fibonacci got the idea of the series checking how many the birth of some rabbits, and he understood that they were getting more and more and more in a precise way. At least this is what I read about the story. And Mario Merz, who was working with the series, was trying to define a way, and how many people are going to stay at the restaurant, how many people are going to join other people. And of course, social context, especially if you consider maybe his igloo production or other things. Social issues are for sure present in the idea of Mario Merz, and maybe in the sense of Jonathan as well, since he was using a technique which is adding possibility.
Do you think he will do other works like this in this technique, because it's a special technique that he found out now? So will he speak a singular work?
I think he's gonna use it again, but he took this technique from religious images, and his religious aspect of a technique. I'm quite sure Jonathan is gonna use it again because he loves it. I love it.
But it's so interesting. You said it in the beginning that he has such a diverse oeuvre, and I would be curious, what is on the photo collection from Jonathan Monk in the exhibition we can see now?
It's also a sculpture, and it's a sculpture that's basically it's a maquette for a covered motorcycle, or the title is Maquette for Covered Motorcycle, and it's out of a quite a very easy material, acrystal it's called. It's very light, but it's a shape and size of a motorcycle, covered with or draped with a piece of cloth, and it almost looks like marble. So it stands there, but I could lift it up myself, but people think it's a piece of marble. And we have also positioned. I think a lot of visitors don't only see it by really being observant, because it's positioned in in an area where you could think, they're parking their motorcycle there. It's in the staircase, yeah. And some people who come by say, "Oh, is your husband's motorcycle?" But this is what I think.
Don't you have a garage? Yeah. That's a question.
So it's a real trompe-l'oeil when people really like it's like thinking of it.
And the work was actually originally in the exhibition in the Berghain, which we did during the pandemic. And Jonathan participated also with another work. And then he also gave us this motorcycle, which was also there. Funny because there's also an area where all, the staff parks their bicycles and everything. And so that's where
and it was such a beautiful and unique thing because, during the pandemic, you curated another bunker in the end, the Berghain, which I guess, a lot of people know and already have partied in. So, that was also like a great moment to fill a place with life and do something culturally important in a time where it was not easy to, get some cultural inspiration.
Yeah, we did a lot of research during that time on the artists living and working in Berlin, and now it's very nice to see some of the young artists that we showed at the time that they are being represented by galleries now like Cemili Sahin is here at the fair, Yel Bartana, which we might go and have a look later on. So there are some, Clara was Netlova who we showed there. So it's very nice that, that we were able to give them a platform during this difficult time in everywhere in the world, and to make this exhibition. That's it. Well, thank you very much. We very much enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Now we are going to the gallery Vista Mare. It's another gallery from Milan. And they show Sara Enrico, which also has a full exhibition at the OGR at this moment in Turin. A wonderful.
Unfortunately, I didn't make it there yet. I did many bathroom in the other museum institutions, but I will manage to go there tomorrow, maybe.
Yes,
I know that. Yeah, and this artist is also shown in the main section. So we have different sections here. It's the main section, of course, the gallery sections. And then we also have the curated shows, which is the emerging artists. So this is curated by Maureen Dietrich from the Kunstverein in Munich. And the other one is Samir Dayan. Yeah? And then we have also an interesting section is Back to the Future, which is looking at artists from the 60s and 70s, and that was curated by the new director of Castello di Rivoli, Francesco Manacorda. Yeah. And so I really like this idea, to have all these different sections and to have, people who come from institutions and museums to, choose the artists or the galleries who work with the artists for these sections.
No, true. And it's also, I'm not 100% sure, but it's also something very unique, or that you invite so many different curators to really show
in this variety for sure. Yeah.
It's very nice. It's really, and at the beginning you can also feel it, because so you have booths together with really a theme here, a red French. Yeah, exactly.
So this is the gallery Vista Mare, and they're in the main section, and they also have this presentation here with as an emerging artist or young artist, and we have the pleasure to meet Sara. Thank you so much, Sara Enrico. She came specially to talk about her work. Thank you, dear Sara.
Thank you so much for coming here.
We were really attracted by these sculptures, which have this amazing feeling or sense of as they could be soft and nylon filled, but they're actually made out of concrete.
Yeah, indeed. there are concrete mixed up with pigment. And this work is called the jumpsuit theme. Is about posture, is about involuntary gesture, is about the way to transform sculpture starting from clothing and tailoring process. Especially the jumpsuit for me was very inspiring because I found that in here a way to reflect about corporeality, reflect about how a body can inhabit a space that is very close, like clothing. And this has allowed me also to transform shapes and to try to make the cast of the inner part and try to make the people also think about the epidermal, to think about how the horizontality of the body, of the gesture could embody certain kind of very different feelings. Epidermical feelings could be like something that is non-active, something that could be in transformation, something that could be fragmented. So the soft formwork allowed me also to investigate how the concrete and the pigment can go inside and mix it up and create certain surfaces, certain volume that sometimes are put in together, some other time are more fragmented. And so it's about body, absence of body, and corporal sensation. And yeah. Like
I read that you were also did a work with the Belgian designer, very young designer who was in Milan in the 70s, Van de Broek. You were quite inspired by his work when he was in there in the 70s, and we kind of did a lot of work close with drapery and
that's an interesting point because they invited me to perceive a project together with Fabio Quaranta, which is a fashion designer. So starting from the archive of her was interesting because she started like a fashion designer and then jumped into the painting. So starting from the archive research, we decided to create a combination of my sculpture and a piece by Fabio Quaranta, as well as some works by her. So it was interesting because, yes, she reflected a lot about the draping, and this is something that I also interested on because the fold can create a space, can create something that is less constructive rather than the perfect way to design clothes and so on, in a way. And also that work, in a way, it also creating this connection, speaking about skills, speaking about industrial material.
Yeah, because this is like a rubber. It looks a bit like a silicone.
So the starting point, actually, yes, is silicone, brush stroke of silicone that I made very roughly. Then after they get dry, I scan every piece very roughly again, and then I print on it's a pigmented print on cotton, very light cotton, and I hang on this frame that I designed myself. It's a pierre wood, and it's interesting because it's very sometimes the pieces are very variable in the color, so it allowed me also to think about again a skin, a body through the absence of the body. This idea of the tone, this idea of some kind of sensation that could be very different, because through the tongue we can really embody different sensation, affection, pleasure. And so the title itself on the tip of the tongue, it's kind of like how you cannot grab immediately what you are feeling in a way.
And are you interested in clothes and fashion, or is that not really a part that you want to incorporate in your work?
I'm interested in fabric, in clothes, especially that kind of clothes like jumpsuit allowed me to conceive to use it as for its meaning that is very very broad,
So from the political question to the worker but also for athletes or fashion, and it's very abstract thing of feminism. Yeah, because it's also clothing. Yeah, because in a way it's a way to try to create something that is over gender also, and something that really accepts the feature of the body, and you can really try to live the jumpsuit, the clothes in a free way. Starting and go also against the super performativity of the body, what would be the body. So, and I was also inspired, speaking about feminist fashion designer, about Madeleine Vionnet, this French stylist at the beginning of the 20th century, because I was interested to meet her because she conceived the way to design the clothes, starting from the drape, starting from the fold, and was inspired also from the Mediterranean and Oriental tradition of the following the pattern, the fabric itself, and try to wrap the body in a different way, respect some Western tradition on the tailoring that in a way reconstruct the body for the design. Also, I was also inspiring to try to, for me, it became also a mere tool for create a soft formwork to make this sculpture. But at the same time, again, the fluidity of the concrete with the pigment, with the water, allowed me also to create this posture that are very about certain, also intimate body parts. So engage also, but in a different way, the idea of corporality and the fashion together.
To see, you were also in the last Biennial di Venezia.
Yes.
How did Cecilia Alemani find you? Was it a special story?
Yeah, we met actually when I was in New York for a New York Prize some years ago. So we met there, and then it was a really beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful presentation. Yeah, thank you so much. So it's very nice to see your work here again in Torino. Mm-hmm. Any projects that you are working on at the moment?
I'm starting, but now it's not possible to give any I can say still confidential. Yeah, still confidential. Yes.
But maybe it's interesting to mention that you're based in Torino, so you have your studio here, and you're originally from Torino.
I was born in Vienna, but part of my life now it's in Turin, and I grew up in a little town nearby, and then I moved to Turin. Yes,
wonderful. Thank you so much for meeting us.
And now we will go to the gallery Raffaella Cortese, and they have a very nice room with different artists. And when we had a first look at the pair, we were very intrigued by the work from Yael Bartana. Mm-hmm. And we thought it's a especially important work at the time we are living in right now. You know Yael Bartana from Berlin, because she also...
She is partly living and working in Berlin. I think she also goes back and forth between New York and Berlin. But we also showed her work in the Berghain exhibition, and we've been following her work quite a bit. She also has a representation in the gallery in Berlin. Gisela Kapitän Petzel is also working with her. So,
and I think what is really intriguing in that work is that you can't see at the very first glimpse that there is an armor inside.
Yeah.
So, it should look like a puzzle, like something from the past, like a weapon that you can't use anymore because there's a new era of peaceful, living together, and it's incredibly sad utopia, I guess.
Yeah, it's a utopian piece, because it's like something we imagine our ancestors to find, or no, our future ancestors will find in maybe 500 or 1,000 years that they, when they, have archaeological funds, that they might find something like this.
Yeah.
So it's a Winston thing, right? That has been kind of like in concrete, found in the earth. But I think the nice thing is also because it's presented in this acrylic box on a pedestal. It's like a museum piece that we would look at in an archaeological museum.
Yeah, I know, it's true. And I think it's also interesting to know that Yael is born in Israel. And I think a lot of her work is about, it has a big political approach as well. And I think it's a very important piece for the times we are living in, and like witnessing what is happening in the Middle East and all over the world.
Well, this piece apparently comes out of a performance in New York, where she sent performers around with weapons, carrying weapons through New York, and their final destination was a cemetery where they all kind of buried the weapons they were carrying. Just and it was a very strong. It were all women performers, so they were all kind of not burying their children, fortunately, but burying at least the weapons that are being used to kill people. And then there's a photograph of the situation. I think that's from this performance where they all threw the weapons into the cemetery.
Yeah, but she really finds a very strong language. It's like immediately challenging you thinking about her work.
So she started the project from a performance in 2018 in Philadelphia, the Museum of Modern Art, where Yael Bartana had their solo show, exactly Philadelphia. From that performance, she made a video work entitled The Undertaker. And then from the video, she developed this first series of photographs that are from the video. And the cycle is called Bury Our Weapons, Not Our Bodies. So in the performance, there were men and women holding weapons. And so they acted, they were walking in the city to the cemetery and then trying as well to bury the weapons.
And this work also...
And that was the statue was a part of that side as well, as a way of looking at the weapons as they were archaeological fossils in a museum, in a world that is without the items.
Would you say that Yael is a conceptual artist?
So
because that's it's a little bit like it's a nice link to Jonathan Monk, who we just looked at. He's also working in a similar way on different concepts, and the works are triggering all sorts of ideas, and you can interpret them in a way yourself. She's offering an idea within the work, but you can also have a lot of space to
zero and interpretation. Yeah, absolutely. She's really trying to addressing issue of our contemporary times, of course. Not only from political but also historical and cultural point of view, but at the same time trying to lead people and free to interrogate ourselves as well.
She's also quite well known for the neons, working with language, so very direct,
strong
statements about the world.
Absolutely. Her neon sculptures are also very much part of her work. She recently also developed a new series of neon from a show that she had in Israel. So she'll be working also with not only with film photography, but also in a sculpture and neon as well.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Now we go to East Contemporary, and the interesting thing about this gallery, she's a young Polish woman who moved to Italy and opened the gallery only 2 years ago, I would say. And she has a very interesting program with presenting quite a lot of young women artists. So we found Mila Panic. I hope I pronounce it correctly.
The end had too, and when I looked up her gallery, I saw there are only women represented. There's one artist collective where it's a male and a female, and she also said that she wants to focus on artists from Eastern Europe and give them more visibility in the arts and tell a little bit more about their perspective. And the art.
There are actually really quite a lot of interesting artists from Eastern Europe, which we really haven't haven't shown enough. And there are quite some initiatives now, young galleries from in these countries like Bucharest and also Croatia, these areas where new galleries are starting to work. Nice to see you again, Agnieszka.
Nice to see you too, Karen.
Just tell us a little bit again about your gallery. Just the two for the sentence.
Of course. We are East Contemporary. I opened in 2 years ago, in 2020. And the gallery has a focus on Central Eastern European art scene in particular. And we are based in Milan.
Yeah. So this is the work of Mira Panic. Yeah, Panic. And she's very much talking. It's a very autobiographical work because she's telling the story about her being an immigrant from Bosnia and going to live in Germany, in Berlin. So did she come as an artist already, or did she train as an artist in Berlin?
It's both, actually, but she came to Berlin as an artist. Yes, definitely. So she had to find her own new reality as an artist there. Yeah.
So she did not come with her family. So
no, absolutely. Her family, it's based in Bosnia, and that's why all those travels and journeys across different countries, and during which she gathers a lot of inspiration for the works that she's including this series of drawings entitled "If I Stop Smiling, You Will See How Angry I Am,"
which is quite. But
so these are all portraits she has done of herself in photo space, which she then worked on and he made this and told different stories like. You said made in Germany?
Yes.
Make it in Germany. It's a website for immigrants or for people who want to immigrate to Germany to look at and to get information.
Yes, to make it in Germany, literally. So when she arrived, she was wondering, wow, there is this website, Make It in Germany. So how I'm gonna make it in Germany? Let's have a look, right? So it was a source of inspiration for this drawing, and she questioned herself about what does it mean to make it in German, and who will evaluate me, who will judge me if I made it or if I don't make it, who knows? But if I make it, then it means many immigrants, me including, we're gonna maybe dominate Germany. So it's a kind of joke, and as you see, she. It's an auto portrait, looking all of it as a sort of saint and wearing this German sweater, but not really smiling. So who knows what she really thinks.
It's really amazing that the work is so multi-layered, because there is anger, there's humor, there are it's of course a huge critique as well. And you spoiled that she's also a stand-up comedian and artist. And I think, we found that very interesting, that she's performing in that very special way that I'm not aware a lot of artists are doing.
Absolutely.
And
That's actually what attracted me to Mila at the very beginning. Her strength and power and courage also, try to introduce this stand-up comedy in the contemporary art discourse, which I think is very, very unique. But also the idea, what I like about Mila is that she knows how to laugh at sometimes desperate situations, like sometimes during this difficult life of immigrants or people in general traveling among different countries, working in one, living maybe in another. We face a lot of difficult situations, and when there is nothing else maybe to do, maybe we should just smile, instead of maybe smile, maybe the laugh can give us the strength, maybe, that's the solution. And I see this in a lot of her work. Some drawings are more pleasant, some are more ironic, but you can see anger, but you can see smile as well. So it's both.
I also like the idea that it's, in a way, it's also like a modern type, like a meme, so it becomes into our, Instagram, social media connection world that, this, could be me. I don't know. Is she on Instagram? I didn't have a look.
She is. And absolutely, we can refer this work to the meme with a social commentary. So,
but I think it's completely true, because you already have the feeling that you want to snap a picture, and it's true. It's so concentrated, and
And then we have this sculptural work here.
Yes.
Which is a reference to one of the many buses she took between Bosnia and Berlin. A lot of the journey back and forth, but also I guess it's the transition. It's also a transition and an experience to be on this bus all the time.
Absolutely. It's sort of monument, to all this experience of living between here and there. That's the title of the work. That's the feeling, uncertain feeling that we're having all the time. And it's a very present work, and I think it will remain present for a very long time. It's very universal art.
Why did she decide to make it in white?
Well, the idea was to have this kind of feeling that it's a very important stone, a sort of marble, but we actually used a plaster that is called acresto and has this pinkish marble-like feeling. And white, well, we would like to ask Mila, probably. But when we talked, white, it's a sort of color that is my openness, but also, I think, and absolutely.
Well, congratulations. I think it's a very beautiful booth.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. It's really a beautiful booth.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. So we visit the Gallery Rodeo now from London and Piraeus, and we were very intrigued by this presentation because it's a solo booth presentation of a painter here from Torino also, Guglielmo Castelli, who we were, very much, or I was very much attracted to the works from the first seeing. They open up a completely new and fantastic universe of painting figures in a kind of like surrealist kaleidoscope. And we started to talk to the gallerist Sylvia. Hello, Sylvia.
Hi. How are you?
Nice to see you. And we have the great pleasure to also meet Guglielmo. Thank you for being here. Yes, we were amazed by your work.
Thank you so much.
And we both said it's so special. There is nothing like this booth, so it's really a unique experience.
It's really funny because when Karen came yesterday to the booth with you, we spoke and she said how impossible in her head is that someone that lives and, goes out in the world today can make such work.
Yeah.
And I agreed, in a kind of casual way, but then this morning when I was walking in Torino,
You understood.
No, I thought of the first time I encountered Guillermo's work, which was in the Quadriennale in 2010. It was 2018 century. And the first reaction, I thought, because it was an outstanding piece, big, but also outstanding, like all these works are, I thought that this person is dead.
Wow.
That this person is not someone from today.
Yeah.
This historical artist that we don't know. Yeah, it's a discovery, like one of those discoveries.
Yeah.
And then I checked closer to the thing, and then I saw that not only he's alive, but he's young. And I was really, I called Sarah right away. Sarah comes to, and how can it be? So
Yeah.
I had the same reaction as
Okay. I'm happy.
yeah, exactly, because it's really quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
The kind of freedom and independence of the kind of freedom of the medium, right? Like, and also the content.
Well, it's a little bit like also, they're not really storytelling paintings, but at the same time, of course, you think of literature when somebody starts to write a book, a fictional book about a story and how, the characters develop and they take, very soon they take on their own life and they develop their own relationships. And, a lot of authors, when you speak to them, they say, it's sort of
How to build it.
but it comes out and then they just write, and the characters they have these relationships and they cannot really
They're entangled.
entangled. So is it a little bit in a similar way, or you construct your works very much from the beginning?
Yes, I come from the world of the theater, so also the manage. I always trying to work with the relationship between the bodies and the spaces, how those two elements can live together in the space of the canvases, and also not only in the canvases. And the generosity of Sylvia when she proposed me to do so with it's also her vision to thinking that everything is possible. And so it was a gift for me to thinking about my work and how can I decline and with a sort of explosion of work. So it creates different levels, not only on the canvas with different shapes. Also,
That's of course standing out that the size, a bigger size, a smaller size, than
and
this,
also
varied character, and then the cloth, which is also unusual.
I try to also to show the different media that I use, because I started from the drawings and person from this maquette, this kind of sculpture where
The inspiration for the invitation was also the kind of a generosity that your studio generates, right? Like when you when you're in the studio, there's all these elements that are disparate. There's objects, fabrics, light, plants, objects, smaller objects, bigger objects, and the paint. Yes, and the cutouts. Yeah. And I'm very fascinated by the cutouts personally, because they're everywhere in the studio.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the last works they made for the project. So it's a sort of in-out world for a different object that I really love. So it's a sort of the archive that I put some elements around and in, and it goes out. So the cut and the paste of like the memory. There's something that's very focused, other things that's quite fading. So
The figures, the way Show them where they remind me a little bit of Oskar Schlemmer.
They are always falling.
They're like a lot of the body parts are not so connected as with a natural figure.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why they become also a little bit stage-like.
No, sort of the falling dance in the representation, and
But there's always a structure, right? Like for me, the fascinating thing and the technicality, like of Guillermo's work, is that there's always a structure or something from which the figures hold on and move around and play with, and you know, like the maquette, we call it the maquette. In fact, it's a sculpture. They're kind of like spirits.
Yeah, this one especially.
Yeah.
And what I find very strong is that for me, your work is transporting like very strong moods. This one, I think, is also somehow quite melancholic, or it's like ghosty, or it's quite strong. Like, and how do you start? Do you start from a concrete idea, like of a narration, or is it a mood you would like to like translate somehow, or?
Yeah, most of the time I'm starting from the power of the words that can create the image in the imaginary. So this relationship between the words and the image, for me, that I'm started and I came from the theater, are very strong. So for create a story, and it's true that when you said that it's maybe there's a melancholic approach, but also the other side, there's something more sharp, more strong aptitude for my characters. So they are falling, but in the same time they will survive in every dimension, from the drawings into the canvases. So yes, is moving this merging of the bodies, and that are looks like some dolls and some and the objects that can help or obstacle the moving of the characters. Also, it's also big. There's a lot of connection with the dancing, for example. So it's like sort of the life, the Andrian going around and falling again.
And I can imagine we are like coming from theater. I'm sure that you can also recreate certain scenes, and you add something, you take something away, and it's not a static thing. We can also maybe rearrange and play with it. It's like Sylvia said, you have a lot of these sculptures in your studio, and is it happening? Is it a fluid thing, or is it something that needs to be like this, or are you also like redoing something?
No, a lot are redoing things. I mean, it's a lot. It's my studio is sort of a big game of moving and changing. A sort of very Catholic archive where I playing and then try to fix something, but it is impossible. So also in the idea that something is possible, it's already impossible in the idea of the possible. So this thing, it's very interesting for me to moving around, and this thing that the gift that painting gave me again and again. So the possibility to move, you trying to find a way, and then there's a possibility to, okay, let's try again. So
Like in the gorgeous of.
So you also you're like playing with the figures, you're playing, it's like positioning into in different distances to each other, to yourself, to the world, in the world.
Their shadow.
To their shadows.
yeah, it's like, in a sort of way, it's like the relationship, so not everything is so fixed. So
I thought it's yeah. Sorry, no problem. I think for the first time I can read fall.
It is.
I didn't see that yet.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. Every time you look at them, you see something else.
Yeah.
What did you not see?
Fall. That it's
Fall.
like written fall in the shadows, because it's so small. Yeah. It's like we can't even see it.
Yeah.
At the first glance.
There are very many levels to discover. That's what makes it so intriguing and interesting. Yeah.
The microscopic and the jet and me.
Just a sort of, I discovered that I became a figurative painter through an abstract approach. And for me also this thing's changing, because also my bodies, it's a bodies, but in the same time it's a landscape. I build the bodies like a landscape. So the mapping is a sort of piece of flesh that put all together and create the movement and the position of those body. That's it. Also, I didn't mind about the gender because it's about the intention and the movement and it can create a story because the place every place is made by the person, and so it's kind of the big stages where these characters entering and falling and dancing and again.
Thank you very much. We very much appreciate it. It was great to meet you, and we look forward to seeing the next phases.
Absolutely.
Judith, thank you very much for this Walkie Talkie tour. I really enjoyed it, and I think we discovered some very exciting positions, not necessarily super new, because some of the artists we found out, were already represented at major exhibitions. But I take home, some new ideas, and I will certainly follow up these artists that we've been looking at today, and maybe they will become part of the collection one day.
Yeah.